Am I the asshole for not wanting to walk her down the aisle or lie in a speech? I, 41M, have 2 kids with my ex-wife, 42F, a son John, 22, and a daughter Sally, 20. I'm remarried to my wife. I'm very close with my kids. My son is engaged to Abbie. She seems nice but has been a bit pushy trying to create relationships with me and my wife, though she's also awkward with her. Abbie isn't close to her family. She told us many stories why, and while some of her complaints don't seem awful, it's not my place to judge and I didn't live it so I can't know anyway. We've tried to be welcoming but Abbie has forced her way into some family traditions where she wouldn't have been invited, and some where no one outside of specific family would have. She has been calling Sally sis since she and John were only dating a few months. She has an odd sister/mother-in-law thing she does with my wife, and the one I'm not a fan of, wants me to be like father to her. Not because we've clicked or anything. We are very different people, not saying that in a bad way, just saying it's not based on how we get along or anything. My kids and I have this tradition that when they come over, we have a private catch-up in my office/study before they leave. This is now even more important to them because while they both get along well with my wife, they don't want to have personal conversations around her yet. Abbie asked if we could talk, and after I explained the tradition, John later asked that I do it, saying she'd never had a caring conversation with her dad. We compromised that I didn't include her in the tradition but I did join the 2 of them for coffee and let her talk. Then she started calling me dad when they weren't even engaged yet. John pulled me aside and begged me to give her that, laid this whole thing on me about me always being the dad she always wanted right in front of her and she just wanted that, told me she cried watching me and Sally together, she still gives me random hugs, I'm a lucky dad. I didn't like it but I do feel bad so fine I gave her that. She wants me to walk her down the aisle and the father/daughter dance. I don't want to walk her down, and I walk with a cane so dancing is hard. At my own wedding I only danced twice. John is begging for me to do one, preferably the aisle. They came over Sunday, John and I were talking and I thought to address it, when Abbie walked in without knocking, asking if he'd told me yet. I asked what. John said she wanted me to say something about having a second daughter now in my speech and how I loved her. I just looked at him. She asked if I'd do the walk and dance for Sally. I said of course. She yelled she's my daughter too and I said it will never be the same, Sally is my actual daughter. I tried to explain that I'm glad about her being a happy addition to the family and I love how happy she makes Jack, which I thought was a good compromise, but she started crying. John apologized and they left, but he called me when they were home nearly begging me to. Am I the asshole because I won't lie and say I love her or she's my daughter? Update. I had planned on writing this sooner but life got in the way in a couple of really good ways, but people were helpful and asked for updates, and I have a surprise-free day, so here it goes. Mother's Day. My kids and their partners go to visit my ex-wife. It turns out my ex-wife and Abbie are a lot closer than I realized. She calls her mom, which is part of where this comes from. Also, apparently my ex has been egging it on. On Mother's Day they were talking about the wedding and I guess whenever Abbie referred to me it was as dad. My son apparently told her let it go, which led to yelling. Abbie screaming about how she is deserving to be my daughter, ex telling her that she's right, son telling her that I am trying and she should be realistic about things. Sally telling her I only had one daughter, which was apparently a response to Abbie saying to her that as my daughters they should be united. According to my son Abbie was crying, according to Sally she was crying on yelling and kicked something before going to her room, and Sally told me she went off on her mom, but will not elaborate so I don't know what was actually said. But knowing Sally, I can guess. Around 2 a.m. I got a text from Sally's partner's phone saying, Abbie really is great, she hasn't been perfect but you should give her a chance and you will learn to love her. I saw it when I woke up. I tried to text back but was blocked, so I called Sally but they were driving. They stopped by my place later that day because I am on the way and my daughter prefers my liquor and cooking and they told me about the night before. At the end I asked to speak to her partner alone. I asked if I had done something to upset her. She was confused and I told her I was blocked. She said I wasn't but checked her phone and I was, and I said it was after her message and she asked what message. I showed her, it was not on her phone anymore. At that point we brought in Sally and caught her up, neither of them was happy. A couple of days later John and Abbie dropped by unannounced, not something we really do in this family but okay fine. I had mad salmon, does not take long to cook. I cook 2 more, wife serves while I make drinks. The entire night was Abbie trying to bring up the wedding, John trying to change the subject, Abbie not allowing that. We talk logistics because I am helping them get some good deals through some professional contacts I have when finally, she just says, so I was talking to Mom, she said that you can walk me down the aisle and she'll do the dance, or you can dance and she'll walk, it's your call but you need to choose soon. I reiterated that I could not dance, she tried arguing that I had danced a little at my wedding but I made it clear that is different, and did not feel comfortable walking her. She got upset and said, Mom loves me, why can't you? I felt bad but couldn't lie. I pointed out that she had John who loved her, my ex-wife, friends, she had people who love her. She said, but other than, ex-wife, those aren't my parents, I said, neither am I. She was very emotional so my wife and I gave them a few minutes. My son and I were alone later, he looked exhausted. He said the problem was that after Mother's Day Abbie had called Sally and kept saying they are both my daughters, that I did not get to be close with one but not both, and that it was them against me, but at that one Sally cried havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Things were said. Grievances were aired. John had to hang up before it got worse, but I guess Abbie was shaken but there was a new problem. Abbie had decided in her head that I did not mean what I have been saying and was just doing it for Sally. He told me he would handle it. But guess what, he did not. So now I get text messages from Abbie every couple of days acting like we have a secret relationship Sally doesn't know about. She even called herself my secret daughter and LOL'd. She invited my wife to lunch saying, 2 out of 3 of his girls, going out. She has even started using the pressure of showing up at events like a recent barbecue to play a certain image. She hugs me more and holds it, wants to do pictures with just me or my wife and I but always a few with just me to post with captions I do not like. My wife is getting especially annoyed because of how she is with her. I guess Abbie surprised her with Father's Day plans for me that had to be shut down. As it is she still inserted herself into the day, but she has a soft spot for her and when Abbie gets emotional, she caves. My wife is a sweetheart. I asked him if he is upset with me and he said no, he just wished it was different. He said we're good, but he's worried he and Sally aren't, which is when I took the advice of some people and suggested premarital counseling. He said he would talk about it. Abbie is insisting Sally go to her fitting. That shop should pay-per-view the potential Royal Rumble because Sally is not holding her feelings back anymore. I told him Sally loves him and I'll talk to her, but for now it is stressful all around. Abbie driving my wife crazy with her ideas for what my girls should be doing, driving me crazy with dad-daughter content, drove Sally to the edge, and oh yeah, last night sent me an email with 3 styles of father-daughter dances and song options, so I'm not feeling any more respected or heard than before. The 6 of us have barely been in the same room in order to let things calm down since Father's Day, which was great until it was a shit show. Sorry, this is so long, with all the craziness this is still the abridged version. We are supposed to meet Friday, Sally's partner, and I have a bet going about how bad it will go. So onward and upward, I hope you fathers had a less dramatic day than I did, and by any chance does anyone know exactly how bad of a crime I need to commit to enter witness protection? Just curious.